Oh, greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation. I hope you are having a great day so far today. In this episode, we're going to talk about one of the buzzwords of the day at time of doing this video live, which is social distancing. And what I want to do in this video is kind of give you another spin on that. A few people messaged me this past week saying, hey, could you do some videos on the coronavirus and what your thoughts are on it? Not so much on the pandemic, because I have no scientific background or knowledge whatsoever, but just a way of reframing it, because there's a few people that have messaged me saying they're at home and they're struggling. And I thought about how could I kind of play with some of the terms that are out there and create some new meaning for people. So it's really interesting, as I saw this term recently, just in the past couple of weeks, it's been flying around about social distancing and how close or how far we should be away from each other. And when I thought about social distancing, in fact, the first time I heard that, I didn't actually know what it meant, but I know what it immediately, my interpretation was of it. And actually my initial interpretation of it was not what it actually is. So we all know what social distancing means, because we're all probably checking the news hour by hour at the moment. But for me, social distancing goes back to something that's on my vision board around staying in my lane. So just to kind of give you an insight as to what I mean by staying in your lane, I want to kind of tell you a bit of a backstory. So obviously now I'm kind of coaching thousands of people all over the world. Clients include people like people that are athletes, people that competed in Commonwealth Games, people that have been in Hollywood movies such as The Matrix. But life hasn't always been that way for me. And if we rewind just 7 or 8 years, I was living in the back of my friend's gym in East London and was technically homeless and was not in a good place. And life is very different for me now. I spent a lot of time working on myself, counseling, psychotherapy, NLP, coaching, you name it. that's the microwave pinging, because I've been sterilizing Sage's bottles. And that dad life, if you know, you know, right? Sterilizing, it's like a game. Like I'll find bottle lids missing and I'm like, fuck, where is it? Anyway, I digress. What was my point? Social distancing, not sterilizing bottles. And life was really difficult back then. And through to making some good changes in terms of my development of self, I was able to get to the point where I met my beautiful wife, Sati, and our life is remarkable. It's very different right now. One of the biggest changes that I had to make was to stop comparing myself to other people. You see, I used to be really bad. And it's still something that I find as a challenge, but I'm aware of it now, and I have no emotional attachment to it now. It's just, I kind of observe when I do it. I'm able to go, I'm comparing again, and I can stop myself doing it. But I used to be really bad at comparing myself to other people. So I would see a person that I would perceive to be doing really well in life or in business, or in a relationship, or their health. They've got a six-pack and I haven't got one. You know, they've got a business making this much money and I'm in a job, you know. And I really found that it was making me really unhappy. It was making me really miserable. And one of the first things that I did is I kind of took myself off all social media for about 6 months. And it was really like a deep cleanse of my soul. In fact, my counsellor at the time said, you need to remove yourself from Facebook. I was like, why? And they said, because you scroll through Facebook, you just see everybody's kind of colour-coated, gold-plated life. And that's through rose-tinted glasses. That's not the reality, right? So for me, as I kind of move back to the point of this video, social distancing for me in today's day and age is actually about staying in your lane. It's about stopping this, if you're a person that does it, comparing yourself to other people. You know, a great phrase that I heard several years ago from a former British athlete called Chris Akabusi, hey Chris, if you're watching, was, he said, because he started motivational speaking, he said, I don't look up to people anymore. I look into people. For me, that was a powerful phrase for me, because it meant that all the people that I aspired to be like, or that I looked up to, I could kind of pull them down from the imaginary pedestal that I put them on, and instead look them in the eye and look into them, and sort of look at them from more of a kind of analyzing what they're doing, so that I could potentially replicate that myself, right? So if we think about learning to drive, imagine that you don't drive and somebody that you know does drive. You probably didn't at the point where you couldn't drive and now you can, right? You probably didn't think, oh God, they're so much better than me because they can drive. But yet when we think about our kind of our fitness goals, or a goal that we're so wanting to achieve but we haven't obtained yet, it seems like everyone around us is doing it. It's kind of like you buy a new car and because you've never seen it, and then all of a sudden everyone's driving that car, right? So for me, social distancing, what that actually means is staying kind of, cut the scrolling out on Facebook, make your focus intentional, right? So said with love in my heart, if you're a person that loves these videos, get the notification so that you get these videos if you're finding that they're adding value to you, but don't just scroll through social media. Because if you've read anything about the mental health implications of that, like I said, most people when they're posting on social media are posting all the positive stuff. Now, today's a little bit different because a lot of people are scared and frightened because of, at the time of doing this video, if you're watching this video live, we've got the coronavirus pandemic, and so people are being more vulnerable and open about what they're feeling. But still, just today, for the purpose of this video, I had a slight scroll through Facebook, and I still see in the feed a lot of really positive stuff that's, some of it's adding value for others, but some of it is very much like, hey, we achieved this or we did that. And I find that really interesting, because that's generally what people like to do. That's what social media has become, is the place to post your wins so that people will give you a metaphorical gold star, which is in the form of a like or a heart or whatever. So what I want you to think about in this time when you're maybe at home and you're isolating, maybe you're spending a lot of time just with your thoughts, is I want you to limit the amount of time you're on social media. I have an app on my phone that limits me to actually being on any of the social media platforms for more than 15 minutes. And if I'm on Facebook, like I have to adjust the setting for the purpose of this video, because I did a video last week and it kicked me out. I was like, no. But I have an app on my phone which kicks me out of all the social media apps after 15 minutes, which is really powerful for me, because there was a time where I'd be a scroller. There was a time where I was really comparing myself to the people, and most of the time that only happened because I was just spending so much time scrolling online. So for me, think about social distancing in not just the media way, but think about it more in terms of through this period where maybe self-doubt, if you allow it, can creep in. I want you to think about preserving and protecting your mind by giving yourself a little social distance, right? Giving yourself a little bit of time off Facebook. Maybe don't go on WhatsApp for the first hour of the day. Don't look at Instagram pictures for the first hour of the day. Give yourself an hour of power, to quote Tony Robbins, where you're just going to be present with yourself. Then you can look on social media, but I strongly recommend that, especially if you're watching this video live, that you're staying away from that. Staying away even from the news, right? Stay away from media, stay away from information that is not intentionally being consumed, because that stuff will, like I said the other day, I said self-doubt kicked me in the nuts the other day. Comparing yourself to the people will mentally kick you in the nuts, right? So stay your distance. Focus on you. Self-love for me truly is about social distancing. So look, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have and you're like, this stuff's really good, then if you'd like this and you'd like me to coach you every single month, then I go live every single month to coach you. I have clients that I've mentioned, athletes, Commonwealth Games athletes, movie stars, charging thousands of pounds for me to coach them, but I've created a membership where I can coach you live every single month for an absolute fraction of that. So if you want to find out more about that, go to milesmoremotivation.com. All the details are there, but for now, I'm wishing you a beautiful day. Namaste. Speak to you soon. Take care.